I wish I could do this like Brian Kennedy in an Irish accent. But you just have to listen in this plain old Toledo talk. Just a few years ago, I'm going to do this a cappella. I don't have any slides, all right? A cappella. So, just a few years ago, commentators, experts, pundits, know-it-alls, people like me, but not me, were telling regions in search of a turnaround that they had to find the one thing that they could be good at and focus on and be expert in and drive their community. It was sort of like Charlotte found banking. What is ours? Let me tell you, it's not going to work, all right? I don't know who's good enough to make that one choice or what happens after we decide to become the world's best manufacturer of mimeograph machines and suddenly no one needs a mimeograph machine. Each day our world changes at a faster rate. And each of us in our organizations and our communities has to accept that. We need lots of ideas. We have lots of problems. Lots of solutions have to be put forward. That's why there's 23 speakers here today, all with different perspectives, all with different energies, and we've got another 150 ideas out in the room out there. Don't worry that someone's going to come up with that one good idea before you. We need all the ideas. And some of them we're going to do are going to be wrong because the world will change after we get started. So our challenge as a region, as a community that's looking to reimagine itself, is not just to come up with one idea, to come up with lots of them, and to be willing to try things and fail and try again. If you look at the region and the entities in it, those communities, businesses, organizations, and individuals that are most successful are going to be those entities that are best at trying things, recognizing change, and trying something else. So all of us have to be good at that. So today I want to talk about just, I think, a couple of aspects of reimagining the region in a way that I think we can try to deal with this change and be prepared to do it. I'm going to talk about the zeitgeist, I want to talk about immigrants, and I want to talk about kind of a call for leadership. The zeitgeist, the spirit of the time, the sense of the age, what's at the top of our minds? What are we thinking about? What do we think about ourselves? This is more than the fluff of a community. It's what drives investment in a significant way. We have to be aware of that. It drives action, and we get results with it. Every day, people are making choices. Where am I going to live? Where am I going to raise my family? Where am I going to get an apartment? Where am I going to buy a home? Where am I going to do my startup business? Where am I going to put my engineering firm? Where am I going to build something? Those choices are getting made every day. And some communities are on the right side of the answers to that question, and some have been getting it wrong. And we've been more wrong than right over the last 30 or 40 years in this market. So it's time. What are the things that we can do so we're on the right side of that answer? And believe it or not, there's some research in that area. And there's some strong research. There's a group, the Knight Foundation, in conjunction with Gallup, went out and looked through 26 communities. And they interviewed over 40,000 people. And they looked at kind of the theme they called the soul of the community. What drives investment? And they found across every market, the number one driver was the sense of attachment to the community amongst its residents. That sense of attachment. So, well, this is easy. We just need some sense of attachment. Where do we sign up for that? All right? If anyone has an idea, throw it out. Well, it turns out they did some research on that as well. And sense of attachment is driven in 3 categories, and they found this across all 26 communities. And they were a little bit surprised. It's not what you would think of as the traditional nuts and bolts services, though those are important too. It's not just police cars and fire departments and streets that work. We need governments that deliver those services well. But attachment is driven in 3 categories that were significant. Number 1, is there something to do here? Is there a place to go? Can you be connected to the community through action? Is there entertainment, restaurants, museums, zoos, nightlife, ball games, arenas? That sense of, is there something to do? Metro parks to go walking in? That's something to do that is called social offerings. That's the category they put it in. Is there something to do? Drives results in the most significant way across every community. Number 2 in the category. Is the community open to people like me? I don't mean me, I mean me, all right? It's a community accepting of all kinds of people. Do people feel like they are part of something there, all right? The third is aesthetics. And again, these aren't your traditional nuts and bolts services. Aesthetics, is there some beauty? Every street doesn't have to look like Waikiki Beach, all right? Every street doesn't have to have a beautiful vista out there, but attractive public space, public art, a metro park to walk in, a river to be part of, the sense that there's something attractive there, some beauty to connect to in some way. These drive investment and participation. Once people feel that participation in the community and feel that, that they are attached to the community by these drivers, it yields action and investment on their part. And those communities with a greater sense of attraction and attachment are beating out the rest of the world in terms of growth, domestic product growth in those markets. So it is not the fluff. Successful communities are more than the sum total of their police cars, fire trucks, and paved miles of road. There is so much more than that. And it is so often these kind of soft, fluffy things that get pushed aside in tough economic times. We have to stop doing that. Once we do that, we drive away the attachment that people have for the community. The good news about this, though, is that we don't need to wait for government to drive those results. So many of those things, as they're places to go, people to connect with, entertainment, beauty, a sense of openness, they can be driven by the people in this room and by the institutions, the private sector. Now, government is an important partner in that. It's nice to have government step up and participate in building an arena, help foster a district downtown. Things like that make a difference. But we don't have to wait. It can be driven by folks like us. So that zeitgeist, the sense of ourselves, is an important driver for us. The little category for us, and Bob Torres, Robert talked about it a little bit this morning, immigrants. Toledo faces a serious problem with immigrants. We don't have enough of them. We need them to bring energy and life to a community that needs it. We can choose stagnation. That's the path we've been on. We've had the same population for about 40 years across this market, which is spread out across a broader area. Successful communities are attracting immigrants in significant ways. I was reminded, I was down at a Greater Ohio conference 2 years ago, maybe 3 by now, and the head of Forest City Development, probably the most successful developer, national developer out of Ohio. Steve Surchak, sorry, I think you're second, all right? Steve's out there. But the head of Forest City got up and he said, he was on a panel, and he started out his talk, and he kind of scared us all. He opened up saying, immigrants. Do you want I call them? Everyone's going, oh no, what's going to happen next? This crotchety old guy. He says, do you want I call them? Customers. They rent our space, lease my buildings, buy in my developments. They bring entrepreneurial zeal and energy to a community that is moribund. Ohio has to do more to be attractive to folks from outside. There's great things here. We need more energy. And we get some good restaurants too when we bring in more immigrants. So all categories. Oh, Toledo is one of the few markets that doesn't even have a refugee resettlement program. Almost every other major market in Ohio does. It brings in life and energy with some risks. We have to take those risks to make it go. Leadership, and this is kind of the call for leadership out to the group here. I've been part of leadership in this area for almost 40 years now. It's kind of scary, all right? I think that in general, my generation of leaders has failed the market. We have not been flexible enough, not been willing enough to change, not been able to see challenges coming on the horizon, not been willing enough to try new things. We'll do one thing at a time. We've been too linear. That's why it's nice to have another generation of folks out here ready to step in, ready to be part of it, and ready to take over. You just have to push us baby boomers out of the way a little bit, all right? We're tenacious, all right? Or at least partner, as Dave Schlaudecker talked about, partner with us for a while, but we need that new energy. And as we look at it, we need that energy that drives us toward action. We need to make evidence-based, do some evidence-based decision-making as we do it as well. There's some more great research. Alan Malik, one of the great thinkers on urban policy in these times, and LaVea Brockman just put out, from Greater Ohio, just put out a new study on looking at America's legacy cities. And they had really some good quality advice in here. They had one term they had in there that I just hate, but I like the idea behind it. It's called strategic incrementalism. Now, what's that, all right? It means chewable bites, all right? Recognize that you're not going to solve every problem today, but if you take a little step toward it, you can make a difference. It's so important. And finally is the next, the broadest area of effort is to recognize that we have to leverage the assets that we have. And the assets we have are so many, but they don't leverage themselves. It takes leaders to do it. and leaders to make that connection between one category of assets and another, leaders that will make that connection between a community and its assets. And we have so many of them, you know, the classics, the eds and meds. We have great universities. We have high quality medical institutions that are great economic drivers. We have a kind of a resurgent industrial core. We have kind of a downtown that is coming to life again. We have a thriving arts community and parks and museums. We've got to leverage connection between those. It won't happen. We need you to do it. So my call for you is, don't be spectators. Be leaders, be participants. The community is not looking for one idea. We need yours. We need your energy. Let's together get it done. Thanks a lot.